Alright, I want to watch this video. I'll watch it from the beginning again.
What is up, guys? Stay safe here. Classic Wrath has done the impossible, kind of. It has shattered Classic Vanilla's Warcraft log upload record, which is a pretty good approximation, overall approximation for the
Wait, upload record ever from even retail?
overall health and
I guess people don't really log in retail as much though. Turn it up, okay.
player population of Classic WoW. 2 weeks into Classic Wrath, more people are raiding than there were 26 weeks or 6.5 months into Classic Vanilla, which was Classic Vanilla's absolute player peak, which took place during Blackwing Layer phase. Now, Classic Vanilla peaked at 489,000 players. That's a lot of players. While last week, though, in Classic Wrath, it peaked at 540,000.
Wow.
And it's entirely possible that in the future, that number gets even bigger as we move towards two of WoW's most famous raids of all time, Ulduar and Icecrown Citadel. You can also see here another interesting piece of data that while Classic Wrath has around half as much search traffic as Classic Vanilla had on Google and YouTube, it has around 2 times more search traffic than Classic TBC had, which is no surprise to anyone that played Classic TBC. It ended up being a very average experience, and I would call it a relatively shallow gameplay experience as well, especially when compared to both Vanilla and Wrath. These numbers also likely mean that Classic...
I want to go back to this. Hold on. So I'm just trying to understand. So Wrath is the yellow line. TBC is the red line. Vanilla is the blue line. The problem with vanilla as a search term is a lot of people probably looked up classic instead of vanilla. Like, I don't think a lot of people use the term vanilla. I mean, I'm sure a lot did, but I'm sure a lot also searched classic. Whereas TBC and Wrath make a lot of sense, but vanilla isn't the only term people used here. But yeah, it looks like it's like way higher, but I think that's probably the reason why.
When compared to both Vanilla and Wrath. These numbers also likely mean that Classic Wrath is currently the most popular MMO in the world when compared to some of its other big competitors in the MMO genre, which isn't hard to believe when we consider that in 2009, Wrath of the Lich King was the absolute peak of World of Warcraft's subscription numbers with over 12 million players worldwide. So why is Classic Wrath so insanely popular back in the day and also right now? Well, I think the answer is probably pretty simple. There's just a ton to do, and pretty much all of it is fun to do as well. Player progression systems are full and robust. They feel rewarding. Playing multiple...
I do think the player progression system and the way you level up, gear up, and like get tokens in Wrath is perfect. It feels so good. The way it works with Savage gear, Hateful gear, and then Deadly gear. The way you naturally go between the three, and you can even skip Hateful and go straight to Deadly if you want for PvP. And then on the PvE side of things, it makes a lot of sense too. I like how you can get PvE gear and then fill with PvP gear. I like how you can get PvP gear and then fill with PvE. How they like go in tandem. It is really, really, really well thought out.
Characters is fun and rewarding as well, and you always feel like you have something meaningful to accomplish in a positive way to spend your time. Now, interestingly enough, if we look back at Classic Vanilla and Classic TBC, it was during Phase 2 of each of these expansions that we saw their absolute player peaks according to Warcraft log.
I actually didn't know that. I would have assumed the player peak was at the start of Classic, not like in Blackwing or Tempest Keep or SSC. So I think what Stay Safe's gonna say is like, we haven't even seen the peak of Wrath yet because we haven't seen Ulduar and we haven't seen ICC.
Uploads. So I'd say we can probably expect the same thing as we continue through Classic Wrath. But with Classic Wrath, with Phase 2 comes Ulduar, a raid that is probably, as far as over half of the player base is concerned, revered as the best raid ever released in World of Warcraft's history.
Now, I'm not a PvEer at all. I didn't even like necessarily plan to raid. I'm excited to go through Ulduar though. Like, I want to see what people are talking about as the best raid ever, because I never did it in current content. I've done Ulduar hundreds of times for Transmog and for Mim's Head. I actually have Mim's Head and like all the Mog from this place because I've done it so many times. But that was when it was, you know, when I could solo it.
Then, the final phase of Classic Wrath is introducing a little raid called Ice Crown Citadel, which is probably the other half of the World of Warcraft player base's favorite raid of all time. So
Yeah, I think he's right. People highly regard these two raids. Funny enough, I've only done this one for Invincible, which I have, and then the other one for Mim's Head, which I have. But those are the only time I've ever like experienced these two raids, so it's gonna be sick.
So if you're worried about Classic Wrath's health as things go on and things progress, I think you can probably take a big sigh of relief. Now, I think
He's just flexing the Scarab Lord title. Nice.
people will be sticking around for the
Okay.
long haul. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But I'm curious to hear from you guys. Are you enjoying Classic Wrath more or less than Classic Vanilla and Classic TVC?
Way more.
Honestly,
way more.
I've
Way
always
more.
considered myself more of a vanilla guy, first and foremost, but Classic Wrath is making me feel pretty flustered. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please
I completely agree. I've always considered myself more of a retail player. Like, I went pretty hard on TBC at the start and, you know, got like rank 1 in the ladders and stuff, and I had a great time. But I was like, when I got back to retail, I was like, oh man, this is just way better. But after playing like a month or two of Wrath, you know, including pre-patch, I'm just like, this is really good. Really, 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 really good.
please drop a like, upvote the video, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching and giving me your time. Hey, keep on enjoying Classic Wrath, and as always, stay safe.
Stay safe, baby. Well, wow. I mean, you guys have been telling me to watch this video. There it is. I guess the numbers are higher than anyone expected. That's insane. Absolutely insane.